Talk a little bit about chick lit. My name is Jane. I'm an author, editor, publishing professional. I help you make your writing better. That's funny to me that someone has that on their query tracker. So chick lit is another phrase for like women's fiction, for very voicey young women's fiction. If you think about like in the early 2000s, you had, I would say, Sophie Kinsella and Molly Harper and Lauren Weisberger were probably some of the biggest names. Lauren Weisberger was probably the biggest name in this space. Lauren Weisberger wrote Devil Wears Prada. So that's what we are thinking of when we think of like chick lit. So these are books that are not romance novels. Like that's not the point of it, but it definitely like otherwise feels kind of like a rom-com. And I've definitely like I've seen people call The Devil Wears Prada a rom-com. Uh, I don't know what you're doing. And so these books were very voicey. Oh, Bridget Jones sometimes get lumped in there, even though hers were romances. But they were like, you can now see sort of like the vibe that we are going for. So these sometimes have a romance at the center of them, sometimes don't. The focus is usually on something else, not on the falling in love. So they are women's fiction, but they are very, very voicey. They are very funny. They are short usually. They are like steeped in things that are marketed towards young women usually. So there's usually like a high emphasis on fashion and on your friends and on like cool parties and gossip. And the romances are fun and flirty and like not that deep. Like that's sort of the vibe that we're going for when we talk about like chick lit. We don't largely use that phrase anymore. This would be women's fiction. Some of them have been shunted over into romances. Some of them have become other genres entirely. But yeah, that's funny to me that somebody is using that phrase. I love it. I think that there is a way, like, I think this is a good distinction because when I say women's fiction and you're picturing someone like Kristen Hanna, you are probably not like the person who wants to read Kristen Hanna novels is probably not interested in Lauren Weisberger novels. They are just going after a different readership entirely. And so I think there's room for us to separate these out.